Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free English ebook before it's gone. Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. Welcome to the 2000 Core English Words and Phrases video series. Each lesson will help you learn new words, practice, and review what you've learned. Okay, let's get started. First is bake. 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 To bake is a verb which means to put something in an oven and allow it to sit there in very, very high heat until it's finished. So we use this when we are making sweets a lot. Here's an example. The man is baking a cake for his wife. The man is baking a cake for his wife. The man is baking a cake for his wife. Grill. 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 To grill means to cook something usually on an open fire or with maybe just a few small pieces of metal to put the thing on top of. We use grill a lot with meat and sometimes with vegetables too. Here's an example. I prefer to grill steaks and hamburgers instead of frying them. I prefer to grill steaks and hamburgers instead of frying them. I prefer to grill steaks and hamburgers instead of frying them. Stir fry. Stir fry. Stir fry. To stir fry refers to a style of cooking where we use a little bit of oil and our ingredients, like vegetables and meat, for example, and instead of letting the ingredients sit in the oil to cook, we stir them in the oil. So it uses a little bit less oil and is considered a little more healthy. Here's an example. I like to stir fry vegetables with chicken breast. I like to stir fry vegetables with chicken breast. I like to stir fry vegetables with chicken breast. Fry. 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 To fry means to put something in oil, in very, very hot oil, and allow it to cook in the oil. This can create a very, very crispy outside of that thing, but it's generally not considered super healthy. Here's an example. The cook is frying an egg. The cook is frying an egg. The cook is frying an egg. Roast. 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 To roast is a verb that is usually used when we talk about cooking with meat and vegetables in the oven. So like bake, we put this in the oven, we put our food in the oven at a very high temperature, but with roast, we're not trying to make it come up like with sweets, like cakes, for example. With roast, we have the heat coming down from the top and it creates this nice crispy coating of whatever we are making. Here's an example. My family likes to roast a duck for dinner. My family likes to roast a duck for dinner. My family likes to roast a duck for dinner. Cut. 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 To cut is the basic verb that we can use to describe this motion with a knife or even this motion with a pair of scissors. So we are separating two things with something sharp. Here's an example. The hairdresser is cutting the hair with scissors. The hairdresser is cutting the hair with scissors. The hairdresser is cutting the hair with scissors. Sauté. 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 When we sauté something, we usually have it in a frying pan and perhaps a little bit of oil or butter, and we are cooking the thing so that it creates a nice kind of golden outside usually. So we're not covering the thing that we are making in oil and we're not stirring it all over the place, but we are rather kind of coating it in a sauce. Here's an example. When I make pork, I like to sauté it in a pan. When I make pork, I like to sauté it in a pan. When I make pork, I like to sauté it in a pan. Boil. 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 Boil is used when we talk about cooking with liquid, like when we're making soup, for example. When we reach the point where water or soup boils, it's when the top of the water or the top of the liquid starts to bubble a lot. Here's an example phrase. Boil the eggs. Boil the eggs. Boil the eggs. Steam. 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 Steam can be both a noun and a verb. Steam is that water vapor, the white substance you see coming out from a pot when you cook with like maybe soup or something. Some liquid that comes out that's very hot is steam. But we can also use that as a cooking method. So when we steam something, like vegetables, for example, we use the very, very, very hot air and the very hot water vapor to cook our vegetables. It's considered very healthy. Here's an example. Steaming the vegetables is a healthy way to prepare them. Steaming the vegetables is a healthy way to prepare them. Steaming the vegetables is a healthy way to prepare them. Reheat. 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 So this verb reheat means to heat again. The re means to do again, right? So to reheat means to heat something up again. So if you make a lot of something one night and then there's food left over, you might put it in the refrigerator and then you need to reheat it the next day. Here's an example. Reheat the leftovers for dinner tonight. Reheat the leftovers for dinner tonight. Reheat the leftovers for dinner tonight. Let's review. I'm going to describe a word or phrase in English. See if you can remember it. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say the word for cooking something in an oven at very high heat that we usually use for desserts? Bake. Bake. And how to say the verb for cooking something on an open flame, like meat or vegetables. Grill. Grill. What about the verb for cooking something in a little bit of oil as you mix it all together? Stir fry. Stir fry. Do you remember how to say the verb for cooking something by putting it inside oil, very hot oil, and allowing it to get crispy? Fry. Fry. Let's try the word we use for putting something like meat or vegetables into the oven at very high heat. Roast. Roast. What about the word that we use for a basic motion with a knife or with scissors to separate two things? Cut. Cut. Now, let's see if you remember how to say the verb for cooking something in a pan with maybe a little bit of sauce and maybe a little bit of stirring only. Sauté. Sauté. Another one. What about the word that refers to cooking something in liquid so that the water gets really bubbly? Boil. Boil. Do you remember how to say to cook with the water vapor that comes from having a pot with a lid on it and lots of heat trapped inside? Steam. Steam. And finally, do you remember how to say to make something warm again, like when you have leftovers from the previous meal? Reheat. Reheat. Well done! See you next time. Bye!